Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm so happy you're here. Today I have a story that's packed with drama. Before we jump in, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss a new story. And I want to know, where are you listening from? Are you chilling in bed, driving to work, or maybe out on a walk? Let me know in the comments. Now, let's get into it. I've lived my entire life in the shadow of my sister, the golden child. From the moment she could speak, she was the sun around which our family orbited. I was the afterthought, the mistake, the one who could never measure up. But on my wedding day, I finally got my revenge, a revenge so sweet it tasted like justice. From the moment she could speak, my sister was the center of our universe. If she accused me of stealing her toys, my parents believed her without question. If I dared to defend myself, even with proof, I was scolded for being difficult. My birthday cakes were always her favorite flavor, even though I hated it. My parents pretended not to notice, but I knew. They always noticed when it came to her. She was spoiled, entitled, and cruel. As children, she ignored me, but as we grew older, her indifference turned into malice. When she lost her friends in high school, whether because they moved away or because she drove them off with her venomous personality, she turned her anger on me. Suddenly, I wasn't just her punching bag. I was her nemesis. She accused me of things I didn't do, and my parents believed her every time. They stopped letting me hang out with my friends, claiming they were bad influences. What saved me from complete isolation was my extended family. My cousins became my lifeline, and through them I found moments of joy in an otherwise bleak childhood. When I got my first boyfriend, I thought things might change, but my sister, ever the opportunist, saw him as another way to hurt me. She flirted with him shamelessly, batting her eyelashes and whispering lies about me. When he rejected her, she ran to our parents with a fabricated story about him harassing her. Of course, they believed her. This pattern repeated with every relationship I had. My sister would sabotage them, and my parents would side with her, calling me naive and incapable of making good choices. By the time I reached college, I had given up on love. I focused on my studies, determined to escape the toxic environment at home. Years later, I met him, my husband. He was everything I wasn't: bold, confident, and unafraid to stand up for himself. When we got engaged, I knew my family would try to ruin it, but I didn't expect the audacity of their plan. My parents sat us down and made an outrageous demand. My sister would walk down the aisle before me, in a wedding dress, as if it were her wedding. Their reasoning? It wasn't fair for the younger sister to marry first. They even offered to pay for the wedding, on the condition that my sister got her moment. My husband, ever the strategist, pretended to agree. He played along, feeding their delusions while secretly plotting our revenge. We decided to let them think they had won, all while orchestrating their downfall. On the day of the wedding, everything went according to our plan. My sister arrived in a wedding dress, ready to steal the spotlight, but she never made it past the door. Our security team, hired specifically for this moment, stopped her in her tracks. "I'm sorry, ma'am," the guard said, his voice firm. "There's already a bride here. You must be at the wrong venue." My parents tried to intervene, threatening to call the police, but the guard stood his ground. Meanwhile, inside the venue, I walked down the aisle to gasps of confusion and whispers of disbelief. My father, realizing his plan had failed, abandoned me mid-ceremony to deal with the chaos outside. The look on his face as he left, part rage, part desperation, was priceless. My husband's father stepped in, escorting me down the aisle with a reassuring smile. As I reached the altar, I felt a surge of triumph. For the first time in my life, I was in control. The fallout was spectacular. My sister threw a tantrum, screaming and crying like a child. My parents tried to blame my husband, claiming he had agreed to their plan, but they had no proof. The guests, horrified by their behavior, turned on them. My husband played the role of the confused groom perfectly, denying everything and accusing them of trying to ruin our special day. By the end of the night, my parents and sister were forced to leave in disgrace. The guests rallied around us, showering us with love and support. For once I wasn't the outcast, I was the hero of my own story. As my husband and I danced at our reception, I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. The years of pain, the endless comparisons, the constant belittlement, it was all behind me. I had finally broken free from the golden child's shadow. My sister's attempts to sabotage me had backfired spectacularly. Instead of ruining my wedding, she had exposed herself for the selfish, manipulative person she was. And my parents? They had lost the one thing they had always taken for granted, my loyalty. As we left for our honeymoon, I couldn't help but smile. The golden child's reign was over, and for the first time in my life, I was free. Months after the wedding, my sister sent me a long, rambling message. She accused me of ruining her life and claimed my husband was cheating on her. I laughed as I read it, knowing it was just another desperate attempt to regain control. But the real twist came a week later. My husband and I received a package in the mail. Inside was a letter from my parents, apologizing for everything they had done. They admitted they had been wrong to favor my sister and begged for a chance to make things right. I stared at the letter, torn between anger and hope. Could I ever forgive them? Or was this just another manipulation? For now I've chosen to keep my distance. Some wounds take time to heal, and I'm not ready to let them back into my life. But one thing is certain, I've finally found my happily ever after, and no one, not my sister, not my parents, can take that away from me.